Hello and welcome. Merry Christmas everybody. This is going to be the cutest video on the channel. I hope you're having a lovely Christmas day. You've opened lots of presents. Maybe it's a lot of Warhammer. Maybe it's a load of games that you're looking forward to cracking open. Maybe it's a new electronics piece like a console, or maybe you've just opened packages that have socks in, or jumpers, or slippers, or loungewear, or something like that. But either way, I hope you're having a fantastic day, whoever you are, wherever you are on this wonderful planet. I hope you have a truly magical day, full of wonder, full of surprises, full of excitement, full of fun, family, love and laughter. So what I thought I'd do today is do a review of my most anticipated model of the year. The Thunderhawk did come a close second to this model, and the model that I'm referring to, if you haven't already guessed it, is the Death Guard Myphitic Blight-Hauler. Not the Mythic, it is Mythic no more, it does exist. I can't believe it, it's actually here, it's a physical model, and it is so cute. It's just such a cute little model. Really pleased it's here. Let's go into the review. So one of these models will cost you £15. It is an easy to build kit. I think that's quite a decent price. It's not as kind of tall as a fetid bloat drone, but a fetid bloat drone's what, £30 or so? So it's double the price of this, and you're still getting a lot of detail. What I'll do is I'll just go through some of the detail aspects and things and how easy it was to build. There is a clue there that it should be easy to build. Then I'll go through some size comparisons and eventually the rules. So this is the model itself. It was easy to build, I have to say. You don't necessarily need glue. It specifically says you don't need glue, but I'm a modeler, so I've taken extra steps, and I will be releasing a video in the next few days, probably Boxing Day actually, of me going through like a step-by-step process from start to finish with one of these. So the extra steps I took is obviously I clipped them off the sprue. You should do that anyway. Then I cut off the little excess parts where the sprue attached them to. Then I filed the parts down with a little metal file, and then eventually I put it together, but where it's sort of pushed to fit, I just added a little bit of glue so that the model is completely solid. You can't move these guns. It would have been nice if that was a little feature. It's sort of built for that as well, I think. If this wasn't a easy to build kit, if it was a multi-pose kit and you had a rod across there, like they do with, you know, like the Eldar tanks and things, and the weapons were attached each side of that rod, then you probably could have the weapons move up or down or whatever. But apart from that, I can't see anything else that they could have done for sort of movement or anything like that. Maybe they could have, if it was multi-pose, have a different mouth part, maybe a mouth that was closed, maybe a mouth that had a sort of half a Space Marine shoved in it maybe. I don't know, because that's what these things do. They go along the battlefield, scooping up all the crap, and then they release it as gas. Now, I would have thought that there'd be a couple of large orifices or something out the back maybe, but there are just these two vents here and two vents there, and that's pretty much it. So whatever gases and things it's creating, it's sort of releasing them out of those and out of these here. Now, you may want to drill those holes, but I think that when you come to shade it, the shade will get in the recesses as it is. I have to say that this vehicle does have a fair bit of detail on it. You can see some veins there and some pustules and some spots and things. There's lots of detail with the rivets. You know, once you spray this and paint it, you're not really going to notice that it is a easy to build kit. It's going to sit very well with the rest of the range. If you've seen my other Death Guard videos, you'll see the other easy to build Poxwalkers and the you know, standard Death Guard Plague Marines. There's a few of them from the first strike set that are easy to build, and you honestly, when you spray them and paint them, you can't tell. You honestly can't tell. It's not like the Contemptor. In my view, is an easy to build kit, even though it's not advertised as such. It's a £35 kit, which is a lot of money, and it's pretty much just two pieces glued together, and then you've got the weapon arm options. But you compare that to a Forge World Dreadnought, they're on completely different playing field. However, the lines aren't as defined with this model and say the rest of the Death Guard range. They're doing a really excellent job with their easy to build kits at the moment. Not just this, but all of the models that I purchased the other day, including the Redemptor Dreadnought. Now, it's up to you if you want to put the plugs in the holes here on the base, or if you just want to clip them off and then move it a bit back, because he is sitting quite forward on the base, almost overlapping the base there. So you might want to cut them off and just move him back a bit. His treads are going to cover up any of the holes anyway if you do decide to move him back. That's a good little tip. It went together quite well. You might get a little bit of gap there, but if you run some glue along it, I know it's push to fit or easy to build, but if you do that, then that will create that nice seal, and just put a little sort of plastic clamp on there too. But that is the Blight-Hauler. Lovely model, lots of detail, you know, £15. It's a steal. It really is excellent, and it's a great little unit. I bought 3 of them. Reading all the comments and things, I think most people bought 3 of them. They're just excellent in a pack. They've got a lot of excellent features, including, you know, the weapon loadout, the fact that it doesn't slow down as it's taking damage like the bloat drone does, and you've got this gas that it creates too. So that is the Blight-Hauler. Lovely little jumping spider looking type mini tank kind of thing for Death Guard. This really gets me excited if Games Workshop decide to make sort of grot tanks and things. If they made them in this kind of like little format, that'd look really cool. Right, on to the size comparisons. Okay, so I have a nice selection of models to do a size comparison with today. Firstly, we'll just go with some Imperial models. So we've got a little Space Marine here, a standard Space Marine. It dwarfs the standard Space Marine, as you can see, quite a lot. And then we got a Primaris Space Marine. Again, it's got the thickness, definitely dwarfs a Primaris even. Maybe if you had sort of 5 of them, the balance would sort of turn. Yeah, definitely one of them dwarfs one Primaris. And then I'll go for the Mini Dreadnought. I say the Mini Dreadnought, it's just a standard Space Marine Dreadnought. But in fact, when you look at it, I would hazard a guess that this Blight-Hauler is bigger than the standard Dreadnought. I mean, look at it from the top down view. It's a similar sort of width. The Blight-Hauler is wider though. It's got an extra bit at the back. Its base is a lot bigger. Height wise, it is taller. Yeah, overall I'd say it is a taller, bigger model than a standard Dreadnought, and obviously a lot cuter. But there you go, that's just a little comparison. It's cool because they've got similar sort of weapons. Well, this one doesn't have the missile launcher, but it does have a multi-melter. It just goes to show you the similarities there. So it's kind of like little Death Guard Dreadnought, really. I know they've got the Hell Brutes and things, but yeah, I thought I'd make that comparison. I wasn't going to, but I'm pleased I did. So that's those. Then we'll move on to some Death Guard units. So next to a Plague Marine, which we all know is now bigger than a Space Marine now. You know, it'll work really well. I think it looks a little bit small compared to, you know, the rest of the sort of Death Guard models. You know, compared to like a Blight-Lord Terminator, you know, you get 3 of these Blight-Lord Terminators and it's going to sort of blend in with them, which is probably a good thing. Next to Typhus's base is almost as big. I know I make a lot of jokes about how big Typhus's base is, but there you go. So yeah, it's thicker than Typhus, which is a good thing. And this is why 3 of them would work really well. You know, they don't take an awful lot of room other than their base, obviously. And then, just because it's here, I've just got the Plague Crawler tank as well, just to give you sort of some comparison with their kind of artillery unit. So there you go. Obviously this one is, I think it's, I want to say £40, I think it is. So yeah, you can get almost 3 Blight-Haulers for the same price as the Plague Burst Crawler. So there you go. That is a little comparison there. And then finally, last but not least, I wanted to do a size comparison with the fetid bloat drone as well. So this is probably the closest sort of, I say, competition wise between these 2 models. which people would pick. Obviously the Bloat drone is fast, but so is the Blight-Hauler, and I'll do a little bit of comparison with them in the rules section in a little while. But yeah, size wise, there's not a lot in it. I'll tell you, the Blight-Hauler is very similar sort of shape from the front faceplate all the way to kind of like its tail, but it's obviously got these 3 tracks instead of sort of nothing. And although it doesn't have the turbo fans or whatever that you want to call them, it does have the two weapon loadouts. So they're sort of quite even in that regard. The Bloat drone has the turbo fans and the 2 weapons, but no tracks or legs or anything like that. Whereas the Blight-Hauler again has the 2 weapons. It doesn't have the turbo fans, but it does have the 3 tracks. So they're kind of almost on an even footing. But price-wise, half price for a Blight-Hauler. This is one of the reasons why it's such a good model, as well as its looks, obviously. But yeah, half price, £15, £30. Now this isn't easy to build. Well, you know, the term that they use, easy to build, that's what I mean, like push fit and stuff. And it does have a few options, but you can't do an awful lot with those options. You know, the guns are quite static, the turbofans, you can move them a little bit, but that's about it, you know. And to pay double the price for a model that's not going to have much posability and stuff is a choice you're going to have to make. There you go, that's both of those models. So what I'll do now is I'll just talk to you about the rules. Now you do get the little information booklet, instruction guide with the kit and a little bit of a painting guide too. And I will say that the rules that you get with the model are exactly the same as in the codex, which is a good thing. So you'll actually find this little demon engine in the fast attack choice directly below the fetid Bloat drone. It will cost you 7 power points and it will cost you 85 points. But then you've got to buy the multi-melter, which is 27 points, and the missile launcher, which is 25 points. So it's going to cost you 137 points in total, because the Gnashing Maw that it comes equipped with doesn't cost you any points. So 137 points, fair bit of points there. Its movement is 10 inches, its weapon skill is 4+, ballistic skill 4+, strength 6, toughness is 7, 8 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8 and a save of 3+. That's great that it's got a save of 3+. Compare that to the Bloat drone. It moves the same amount, its strength is the same, toughness is the same, it's got 2 less wounds with 8 instead of 10, it's got the same number of attacks though and the same save. But what it has over the Bloat drone is that its characteristics don't change if it suffers damage. When the Bloat drone has basically half of its wounds remaining, it moves slower, its strength is less, and it gets 1 less attack. The Blight-Hauler doesn't have any of those things, doesn't affect it. Now the unit contains 1 Blight-Hauler, but you can include 2 additional Blight-Haulers, power rating of obviously 7 each. So you can have 3 of these in 1 little detachment, and they're equipped with a missile launcher, a multi-melter, and bile spurt, and a Gnashing Maw. I forgot to mention that a bile spurt, just reading it now, sorry about this, bile spurt is another 5 points, so it's actually 142 points, which is a fair bit of points actually when you think about it. 142 points as opposed to sort of 100 or something. However, the Bloat drone is still more expensive, whichever way you look at it. Now the bile spurt is a ranged weapon, 12-inch range. It's assault D3, strength 6, AP -1, damage 1, but it's a plague weapon, which of course means you can re-roll wound rolls of a 1 with it. So it's got a good little plague spurt, you know, short range weapon. You know, you can get up to 3 shots. Not the best in the world. It's good strength. It's got an alright -1 AP, you know, but the ability to re-roll the wounds of a 1, it might be worth it, but you're only going to really have maximum of 3 shots anyway. Now it does have the missile launcher, which of course we all know what missile launchers do. You know, you get a frag missile, which is, you know, the range is 48 inches anyway. They're heavy D6, or crack missile, which is again 48-inch range, but it's strength 8, AP -2, damage D6. Then you get a multi-melter, which is 24-inch range, heavy 1, strength 8, AP -4, damage D6, and when the target is within half range, so 12 inches, you roll 2 dice and you discard the lowest result. Now its melee attack is a Gnashing Maw. The strength is a user, so it's strength 6, it's AP -2, it's quite good, Damage is only 1, but again, it's a plague weapon. You're only getting 3 attacks, so probably not the best thing to go into close combat with. But I like the fact that all the weapons cover kind of almost every eventuality. You've got your heavy D6 frag missiles for long range fire support against troops. You've got a crack missile, which is pretty good against armoured units or tanks from a long range. And then you've got some short range anti-tank or anti-armour weaponry in terms of the multi-melter. And you've got, again, some anti-troop weapons in the form of the bar spur and a gnashing maw as well. If anything, this is probably going to be good against cracking armour rather than the troop kind of aspect, which I'd probably say that the bloat drone is more capable of, especially with its flesh mower. But its abilities, it's got disgustingly resilient, which of course is on a 5+, the model doesn't lose that wound. The putrescent fog, friendly Death Guard infantry units that are entirely within 7 inches of a Myphitic Blight-Hauler gain the benefit of cover when making armour saves. Now that's brilliant. So you get them within 7 inches of these and you've already got cover saves. Putrid Explosion. If the Blight-Hauler is reduced to 0 wounds, you roll a dice. 50-50 chance here. You've got a 4+. When it explodes, each unit within 7 inches suffers a mortal wound. So that's good that, you know, it explodes each unit. Yeah, mortal wound, pretty good. Trilobe. Add 1 to all hit rolls made for this unit whilst it contains 3 models. So you get 3 of them. This is one of the good reasons of having 3 of them. You add 1 to all hit rolls. So you got 3 of them, firing 3 missile launchers from 48-inch range. Now let's be honest, they've got an effective range of 58 inches because of their movement of 10 inches. And I'll go on to that in a very short while. But basically, yeah, you're going to be adding 1. So although the ballistic skill is 4+, that then increases it to a 3+, which is fantastic. Demonic, all models in the unit have a 5+ invulnerable, so it's got 3+ normal, 5+ invulnerable, and then this is what I was mentioning earlier, Tri-Tract. The unit does not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons. So there you go, guys. It can move and fire multi-melter, missile launcher, whatever. Doesn't have a penalty. So it can accelerate about around the battlefield, because 10 inches isn't that slow. You know, it's as fast as the bloat drone. You know, zipping about, all-terrain, tri-tract little vehicle, firing that missile launcher, firing that multi-melter where it needs to be. You know, that multi-melter, wouldn't overlook it because, you know, its ability to fire that and move means it's got an effective range of almost a heavy bolter, you know, 34 inches there of a strength 8 AP -4 weapon. And if you've got 3 of them, that's really going to cause havoc to, you know, your opponent's armour. And then for the final ability is Foul Stench. Enemy units must subtract 1 from any hit rolls that target this unit in the fight phase. So that's pretty cool. You know, it would have been nice if it was a ranged kind of thing, like the putrescent fog. But the putrescent fog, that's only affecting your infantry. It's not affecting them themselves or any vehicles or anything like that. It's just infantry. So they get in the cover save, and then in combat they have to subtract the 1. So, you know, you're getting Space Marines and things, instead of getting the 3+, they're now going for a 4+ because of this Foul Stench. Now typically I review models and the rules and things, and I can think of a few things that they might benefit from or improve. This model, I can't think of one. I think this model is one of the best well-rounded models in terms of, well, looks, in terms of rules. I think it's an incredible model with incredible rules, and I can't think of anything to add to it. I really can't. It's got a good toughness at 7, it's got a good save of 3+ with an invulnerable 5+, it can move and fire those heavy weapons, it's got the little abilities, it can ignore wounds on a 5+, it's got those good weapons. The only thing I'll probably say maybe is have a better sort of weapon in close combat, but they are plague weapons, they are -2. I mean, yeah, if it had like a -3 or -4 weapon in close combat, then yeah, I think it would be a bit overpowered. But yeah, I think they've done everything right with this model and its rules, and the fact that the damage doesn't affect its characteristics. That's the real key in all this. You know, why you'd take that and not the bloat drone as well. Yeah, the bloat drone is good because it's got the flesh mower, but the flesh mower is only AP -2, the same as the gnashing maw of the Blight-Hauler. And yes, you're getting 6 additional attacks, which is great, and you're getting a strength 8, but what if it's only got 2 wounds? then you're only getting a strength 6. So it puts it on par with the Blight-Hauler in terms of its strength of its attack. So if you can't tell already, I'm absolutely enamoured by this model. I think it's incredible. Definitely done right. Doesn't cost too much points. Doesn't really cost that much money either. And I'm pleased that they've finally brought it out for this price point, which means that there's a higher chance now of people getting 3 and running them in 3s, which would be quite devastating. You know, you've got your 3 invulnerable saves there, you got your normal 3+, you've got all those wounds, they can zip about around the battlefield, firing those missiles off. The only sort of downside I'd say with all of this is it is a shame that it's not a multi-pose kit, you know, that had different tracks, a different faceplate. You know, they're giving the bloat drone different faceplates and different weapons and stuff. I think the weapon loadout is great and I wouldn't change it, but I'm just saying they could have had an option for 2 multi-melters or 2 missile launchers or an anti-air loadout, a little bit like the Mechanicum tank, because it's a great looking model, and I wish that Games Workshop had ploughed more investment, more design and things like that into it to give you more options. But if they had done that, you would have been looking at £25 minimum, maybe even the same cost as the bloat drone, and then you'd be left with parts that you probably wouldn't use. So I'm pleased they've taken this direction. I think they've done everything right with this model. So if you haven't already rushed out and bought one, it's definitely one of my most recommended models of the year. But I'd like to hear what you guys think of this epic model. Please do put it in the comments below. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas break. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Papa bless.